But our biggest goal is where people feel like AI is a weapon. I want us to use I guess AI to weaponize against itself, right? Like, how can we use AI to bring people closer together? Most companies don't want to hire more people and pay higher salaries or what income, whatever it is. They're just going to find some kind of technical solution to, like, even out the playing field.
We introducing Juju Fontaine,
All right.
the founder of HuCapital, and just an individual who's building, somebody who has a plan for the future, and you've been doing it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I first want to talk about a little bit of what you do now.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily the day-to-day, but like somebody in Arkansas who doesn't know anything about anything. And no
Okay.
offense to Arkansas, but somebody who is not abreast in what's going on in the big cities and the culture. What are you doing, and what do you plan on doing?
So, hey everybody, my name is Jerlisa Fontaine. Everybody calls me Juju. Literally, if you call me Jerlisa, it must be a very, very serious matter because nobody calls me that. Very privileged to be the founder and CEO of HuCapital. To your point, we've been building HuCapital for a couple of years. We started out in January 2023. And the intent at the start of the company was to basically be this like professional networking event company. And the goal was to kind of help professionals step out of this phase of isolation because of COVID. Mm-hmm. We obviously weren't able to go anywhere. And I felt like for people who used to throw these professional events and experiences, they kind of like just stopped. Even when we started coming back in real life, people still weren't curating as much. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, let's come back. Like, let's start throwing things. And it grew a lot faster than I thought it would. Our first event, we had about 200 people RSVP, and that quickly over the span of like 2 to 3 years grew to on average like 400 to 500 plus people for like our staple networking mixers. Mm-hmm. So it really showed us that there's like a demand for people to like constantly be in the presence of other people who are doing powerful, meaningful things. And what can come out of that? Building collaboratively. So we pivoted from being an events company. Now we're a tech company. And when I say tech, we're using AI. I know people have a lot of like concerns and sentiments about AI, and we can talk about that as well. But our biggest goal is where people feel like AI is a weapon. I want us to use AI to weaponize against itself, right? Like, how can we use AI to bring people closer together? And when people came to our events, their biggest concern was, hey, I could meet like 10 to 20 amazing people in this room, but I can't meet everybody. And when I leave, I don't know who else was in this room. Mm-hmm. So for our team, the biggest thing was, how do we use technology to help people better understand who's in the room that they're in? And even after they leave, how do they find ways to communicate them? So we ended up studying a series of dating apps, which is actually very crazy because before this, I've actually never touched a dating app. And literally had to like start making accounts and start playing with it and trying it. So if anybody got matched to me, I didn't respond. I'm
just
so
for
sorry.
science.
It was for the science. It was for the research, So we wanted to focus a lot on how are tech companies using AI and algorithms and et cetera to pair people for the sake of dating. But how do we flip that and do it for people who want to network professionally? Mm-hmm. So now as a tech company, we are an AI-powered social platform. We use AI to curate one-to-one and pair group matches. And we specifically do it for people who are creatives and professionals who want to leverage their complementary skill sets to start building together and building collaboratively and recognizing that we are currently in a workforce where if you're trying to build alone, that's never sustainable. You need to go figure out who else in your network has superpowers that you can leverage so you can build something meaningful. That's what we're doing today.
Okay, founder.
Yeah.
You got that.
I had to give you the whole story. I was like, let me just give you the journey. It's like events first, then it's the tech, and that's where we are now.
It's interesting. I think a lot of companies just like suddenly flip. They're like, hey, we're going to do this AI thing. We're going to do the tech thing. Like Allbirds, you heard about them?
Yeah.
They're like, no more sneakers, bro.
No.
They're like, sneakers? Like
what's that?
What are you in the 21st century? Mm-hmm. We're doing AI.
Put these things on your feet. Like, for what? Like, walk barefoot? Like, AI.
What is reality? But, I think there's a lot there that I think is really cool. First of all, it shows how genuine y'all are about bringing people together because you started with the events.
Yeah.
So it's not like we started as this small tech AI company. It's like, no, we were doing the in-person stuff. And it wasn't like y'all were throwing like, these like vulgar parties or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they were networking events. And they were events that are like half networking, half mixers. Because networking events can be very dull, very
and
drab.
intimidating and serious.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have like lanyards instead of name tags. It's like, bro, why are you laminating your name?
Yeah.
But so the first event that I went to, the first HuLane event, I just met really cool people. Like people that are like, I could be friends with you, or like, maybe if we're not going to be friends, like we could be straight collaborators. And that was a time for me where I was finding people who were just collaborators.
Yeah.
Because previously the collaborators were friends and like within my network. At your events, I found people who are like, hey, we could just work together and, not really worry about the strings attached. So that was like one of the first times I'm like, damn, this is what networking could be like. So props for that. And I think that shows, the foundation was always people first.
100%.
And I think it's cool that over these last 3 years or so, the AI thing has popped up in a way where people are like, yo, this could really take away from us. But if we leverage it and use it to our advantage, like it brings us closer together.
100%.
I can tell you as somebody who does events and organizes people that AI is a staple of how I bring people together.
100%.
If I had to be constantly like, let's say there was no phones involved. If we're talking about against technology, what am I going to show up at your door? Hey, I have this event. 2 days later, I come back. Hey, are you coming? 3 days later, hey, bro, make sure you bring this. Like, that's not, like that's how it would be in person only, people only. But, technology makes it so that you can glue these things together
100%.
to where it's like, now we're at the event, phones away.
Yes.
No more technology. We're not worried about AI when we're all together. But these days, bringing people together is more and more of a challenge, especially post-COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm interested what you've noticed. Maybe you can go like the COVID era, but like the last few years since you've been doing this, what have you noticed about people?
Yeah.
Just the average person, maybe professionals, people who are doing big things, people that you have in your network and your audience at your events. What has changed about them?
Yeah.
Their consumer behaviors, their sort of social behaviors. What do they like? What do they not like? Have things changed over the last 2 years versus the last 5? I'm just curious, from an anthropology perspective, what you've noticed.
Okay. When we started in 2023, I'm not going to act like the economy hasn't shifted quite a number of times in the past like 5 to 6 years, but I do feel like in 2023, people were more willing to spend out of curiosity, spend out of uncertainty, and just spend on things that seem to pique their interest and they're willing to give it a shot. Fast forward to 2025 and 2026, the economy is tough. Everyone's losing their jobs. Everyone maybe started building businesses that were very optimistic about its ability to generate revenue or gain profit. And they realize, oh, shoot, like if everybody else is struggling, they don't really have money to spend with me. And depending on the kind of business that you're creating, if it seems to be something that people use more so as leisure and not necessarily a need, there's probably still a lack of urgency for people to spend with you. So what I will say is overall for the dynamic of people who are creatives and professionals, I feel like people have become a lot more intentional with where and how they're spending because money doesn't seem to just flow willingly towards everybody right now. And I'm seeing it in 2 different ways. Rightfully so, people who got laid off probably don't really have that much money, so you're not really trying to spend like that. But what's also happening is because everyone is expressing their sadness, their depression, and their anger towards how they've been treated by corporate America or white-collar America, people who have jobs are also starting to hold on to their money more as well because they're fearful of, I have it today, will I have it tomorrow? Yeah. If I know Jackie, Jill, and James, and they were always like turn up, spending money everywhere, got the flyest stuff, they got laid off and their lifestyle completely changed, I can be like that tomorrow. So the first thing that I would say that I've seen is for that particular group of people, how they spend looks different. They are spending with more, I guess, certainty. People are spending less out of curiosity, and they're spending more so on things that they know they need or can guarantee them safety, stability, or something that's just going to help them be okay no matter what's going on in the market. But that's how people are spending. That's the first thing. I touched on this already too, but I feel like emotionally, I'm like Mrs. like glass half full. And, like, I really feel for people also, but, like, I don't want to say that everyone's walking around sad right now, I mean, people are hurting.
Yeah,
I can't tell you on any given day if I'm like talking to like 5 people in a day, somebody's feeling something. They're going through something. It is tough. And some of it is obviously economical, some of it is family. But I feel like we hit this age where outside of like the economics of it all, this late 20s to like 40 group, I think that people just started to realize like life just got real serious, right? And you're constantly comparing yourself to others and you're constantly saying, am I in the right space to have the future that I want, right? Because when you're younger, you're dreaming a lot. You're like, I want this house. I want to travel to like, I'm in Italy. Like you're dreaming so much. And then you reach this age where you're responsible for you. Nobody else is. And you had all these dreams. Now you're kind of becoming more serious and intentional about making those dreams become reality. No one ever told you what are the actual like steps. Once you have the money or whatever it is to have these dreams, how do you get the house of your dreams? How do you prepare for the family of your dreams? Like now you're starting to kind of like think about like how do I become more serious about that? I think that people are on this phase right now where they're at an age to have to be more serious and intentional about life, but they're not really sure how to like mentally switch and pivot in preparation for what's next because we've just been having so much fun. So I feel like things have gotten very serious for this demographic of people also. And I think like my last, I guess, observation would just be, I mean, because we talk about tech, right? That's what we do. That's what we talk about a lot is how people adopt technology. I feel like there is this mutual understanding that like it has become so integrated into our livelihood that there is always a need to use tech, but we're also very sensitive towards it because a lot of people feel like they have been abused by tech. They are addicted to tech. They don't feel like tech is being built with their safety and their well-being in mind. And there's this tug and pull on how do I revolt against something that is so intertwined into my life and I know I need it. But, like, I really feel like who's building it doesn't care about me, but I can't stop using it. And I feel like we have this, like, professional, creative, 25 to 40-year-old group who is just like, I want to challenge the people or the higher-ups that are building. But I think, like most people know, to really make change, you kind of got to, like, stop using stuff. People don't feel things unless you start playing with their money. And, you know, if you know you're not going to stop using it and revolt to that extreme, it's kind of hard to hold people accountable. So, yeah.
I think it's like, are we trying to knock down the whole system and, like, restart? Like, people don't have the motivation and nobody's organized enough to do that. Let's be real about that. So I think the way to do it is what we're doing. It's like, you know, cultivate community and show people the way to come together and stuff like that. And it's like, it's not about building through destroying the tech. It's like, well, it's part of us, so you gotta use it to your advantage. Like,
100%.
It's kind of like you like ever like on a diet or like trying to be sober or something like that. It's like you have one drink.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, now I might as well just drink every day since I slipped up once. It's like, nah, guys, like steady the course.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want to be more moderate with tech. Be more moderate in every moment, every day of your life. Try to be more intentional.
If I can add to that, you know, I feel like when I think about like protesting, right? I think that by textbook definition or what we've seen through pictures, we always feel like protesting looks like hands up, we're in the streets, and that's the only way. Holding a sign. We need that. Like, don't get it. We need it. But I think that people have to realize that you can protest in other ways as well if you don't want to be in the street. And to your point about people choosing how they engage with technology and how they revolt against it, something that I wish that people realized is you can literally prove how important something is to you through your money. And I'm going to look at the camera for this one. I'm not going to lie. There are people who are building alternative products to mainstream giants with the intention of doing it in a more healthy, cautious way. And I think some of those products get some attention, but when they don't move as fast and aggressive and as quickly and effectively as the big giants do, we rule them out. But what people kind of forget is the big giants, the way they build is typically in an unhealthy way that we're trying to revolt against. Absolutely. But when someone's moving a little slower in their progression, it's like it's too slow for me. And I think if people realize that if you genuinely care about how tech is right now and you want it to be different, you need to be more patient and be more willing to spend with companies that are trying to build the way you're asking for. And something that we always debate about in like my friend group or like my colleagues is people say they want something, but like, how bad do you really want it? And are you going to put your money into the things that you say you want so bad? And I feel like when we constantly, I guess, express our need for something to be better, more safe, or more cautious, those businesses move a little different than the giants. They don't move as fast, and we show less care for them, and we're so quick to like disregard them.
Yeah, it just reminds me sort of like black businesses that, like maybe the chairs are not as good as, what other restaurant. It's like, but you got to understand the context. And
Yeah,
it's like, I know you understand the context.
Yeah, like how
but-
patient are you?
Yeah, exactly. It's about patience. What are some examples that you could think of that, like, maybe some individuals who are doing something like that?
I'm not gonna lie. I wish I came more prepared with an answer. I'm not gonna lie. I can't really say like I have anybody in mind specifically that I would probably compare company to company, but I can probably give like more so examples industry wise. Like when I think about how much we complain about people going into McDonald's and we're seeing less cashiers and we're seeing more kiosks. And the reason why we're seeing more kiosks is because when we come in as customers, there's this like harsh demand for speed, quickness, efficiency of humans. And the more you demand from actual physical labor, most companies don't want to hire more people and pay higher salaries or what income, whatever it is. They're just going to find some kind of technical solution to like, even out the playing field. So our demands lead to like this quick innovation that also ends up displacing us as workers. And then I think comparatively in the same industry, you can have like a local brick and mortar brand that like prides itself on like, hey, come kick it with us. Come get your burgers from us. We're more like the 1950s. I don't know, whatever their brand is.
They put a knife
slower,
in the burger.
Right. They put a knife in the burger. It's slower. It's more family-like. It's more et cetera.
They take a knee when they're asking for your order.
Listen, they just might, but guess what? That may sound cute for a day, but for the same people who are saying, why is McDonald's placing workers, when they come to that brick and mortar mom and dad shop making the same kind of meals, they're going to take a little longer to produce your food. And then we end up complaining about how much longer it takes than McDonald's, but it takes longer because it requires real labor.
That
so it's
instant
like
gratification.
100%. So that's like a little example of not really a company to company, but when I think of a giant versus like a smaller family, whatever, et cetera, business, and how they're able to produce services for people, I just feel like a giant becomes a giant because of speed, innovation, technology, and literally serving what people are complaining about, but sometimes what we complain about kind of works against us in other ways also.
Oh, of course. I think that's a big thing that we've received is this sort of burden, this fatigue of efficiency, the algorithm stuff. Like it comes up faster, exactly what you want. And like, we know exactly what you like. Don't you want to see this? And like, the whole burden of like things being chosen for you, the whole concept of streaming, and it's all the same sort of thing, which is like, this is great until it's not.
Yeah.
And then you want to go back.
Yeah.
Another example that I can think of for what you were saying, where there's like alternatives, individuals building alternatives. So I use the Whoop band. That's like
okay.
It's like Apple Watch pretty much. It's like a fitness tracker. So you get the device for free. I got the device for free, and I was like, oh, that's great. And then it was like, oh, well, you need a subscription. I'm like, all right.
That's what I get you. Yep.
Whatever. I like it, so I'll buy the subscription. It was for a year. And then I'm like, this thing is like $300 for the subscription. But I'm like, it's worth it because it's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, every year?
Yeah.
And then I realized, wait, they're not doing anything except giving me access to the software.
Yeah.
There are people who are building alternatives to Whoop that's just like, hey, you just download this thing and you use the same technology.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay for it. It's open source. And I'm like, wait, this is like the whole scam of everything that we're living in right now. We're paying for stuff that, like we own the thing, but we still got to pay for something else.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm gonna flip that on its head a little bit because I also like have a subscription-based company. People do forget, though. Like I said, there are businesses where they'll just, like, upcharge you significantly for, like, no reason because they just want higher profits. Right. But what people do forget, and so, for example, right, we have this social platform, and when you pay into a subscription, you're paying for access to continuous features and things that we're, like, improving in our software. But one thing that has been kicking my ASS, and this is more so for, like, the business owners for a little bit, There are things like OpenAI tokens. There are things like AWS cloud storage. And I mentioned those tools specifically because the more users you have in your product and the more often or as often as they use them, they burn through
the
those
bandwidth
things. Exactly.
is more.
So what ends up happening is unless someone just has money to like burn through and they can just give something for free for a long period of time because there's something else that they're looking for, they want to maybe sell your data, get the company acquired or whatever it is, unless that's your situation at the moment, no, those things get a little expensive. Like it gets very pricey.
But your thing is more of a service.
Yeah, it's software as, or we call it SaaS, software as a service.
But
exactly.
it also involves like people, and there's like a novelty thing to it. There could be someone new on there every day
Hell
or something like that. Whereas like with what I'm talking about is like this is
it's
just like
stagnant. It's my data. It's my heart.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that has nothing to do with you guys. You know what I mean? I'm like, thanks for the device, but
yeah. I feel like to your point, for that, they might as well just charge you for the device.
That's what I'm saying. That's what people used to do. Is like
100%.
I'll pay for the TV.
Yeah.
And cable comes with it.
Yeah.
Rather than like I pay for the TV and now I have to pay every month for
like even like
the service.
Even like Macs, like like to your point, when you buy a Mac laptop, the software that's in it is just naturally there forever. Like you spend, they charge you a pretty penny in the beginning, but like you don't pay for it ever again unless you want to upgrade your cloud storage and you pay more for that. So I think to your point, like if someone's building out a product like a Whoop and you know that this is a wearable device, usually when it comes to hardware, people are usually just like selling you the hardware and you don't have to worry about paying something constantly, every single time. I don't know. I just kind of feel like for every business, I feel like they know who they're targeting, and I think they just like figure out from there, like, what am I more likely to get this particular customer to pay for? Am I more likely to get them to pay upfront hundreds of dollars for this specific device? Or am I more likely to get them to ongoingly pay something in smaller amounts, and that will create stickiness in their adoption of our product? Mm-hmm. So when people are building like tech products, whether it's hardware versus software, hardware basically meaning the physical actual item, software meaning the thing that you're actually experiencing through the screen, business owners are constantly thinking about what do I charge for and what makes it feel like we're doing them a favor. So to your point, when someone got that free Whoop bracelet, they're like, yo, I got blessed. Like I got a free watch. And then you're like, bro, you pay every month for this shit.
You
like,
have to.
You didn't get a favor. Like, they just made a conscious decision as a business to make you feel like you won in one place, even if you're losing somewhere else. And it's never fun, but that's pretty much business. It's figuring out what can you give your audience for free, your customers for free, but what do you absolutely have to charge for? And when you decide what you absolutely have to charge for, you have to hope that they commit and they're going to keep paying that.
Yeah, that's like the weird burden that we're at.
100%.
It's a strange place.
Like, even like I'm just thinking about like even the progression of the business that I've built, right? And I don't know how much like business we have to get into for this podcast. I know we can talk about all different kinds of things, but when I think about the business model that we built as an events company versus as a tech company, all right, for our events, I'll never forget. You know, I know people have this sentiment towards, I guess, monetizing community. And I've been that person where even before HuCapital, I had a prior startup called Millennivision. And the whole point of Millennivision was to, one, be this like professional networking kind of platform, but not really like the way we have it now. It was meant to be you network through events, and then you use this like online career media site. And there's this company called The Muse. It's like a popular career site. If you look it up, you'll figure out what that one is. And I wanted to build something like that at the time. And I mentioned that because you think so much about the progress of how you charge for things. It's like, okay, if I'm going to have this like random website with mad content on it, I don't really want to charge folks for something that you could just like Google. Like, I don't want to charge for that, right? So you make a decision and say, I'm not charging for that. Sometimes you also make decisions on what you charge for based off how much you spend. So when I was first doing like networking events, I had a lot of peers who would tell me like, you can't charge for that. Like, people throw like free networking events all the time. And I'm just like, yeah, but these photographers are expensive. And the videographers are also expensive. And even though for us, when we do physical events, we do them at bars, and we negotiate something called a bar guarantee. So to avoid having to pay for an actual space right away, we do a bar guarantee and say, listen, you hold us accountable to this amount being spent at your bar, and if we don't make that amount, we pay the difference. And your goal is to never have to pay the difference. But throwing events are expensive, and I feel like people have this perspective that because you want to do something good for the community, you should also not be somebody who wants to charge for it.
It has to be charity.
It has to be charity, and it's like, but wait, I'm literally doing something that I'm so passionate about because I want to see economic mobility amongst my community. Anything I do is with the intent to ensure that when you come into my space, you're meeting that collaborator that you could do something and make money with. You're meeting that friend that you can find enjoyment and maybe make money with, or you're giving advice to each other and you're growing and evolving. If my goal through anything that I do is to help you move upwards and elevate, yeah, I gotta make some money too. Like, why you get to be the only one that gets to make some money? Right. So I give that context to say that, like, when you're creating a business, you're constantly thinking about what can I give my audience community for free that will not take a big burden for me, and what do I have to charge for? Otherwise, I will literally be homeless. So that's my little spiel about like business models.
Yeah, that's just something that I wish people would realize, and it's definitely a cultural thing. Because it doesn't seem that in other communities you get nickeled and dimed over everything, while also the same people are very willing to spend big on things that don't serve them to somebody else. It's like,
wait, can I come in here?
This is like $10 we're talking about.
Oh my God. I have to say this real quick. I love my people. I love y'all. But like, I think like one of the most, so I've always been the community girl. Like, I am the girl where, this sounds really crazy to say, but, like, people will come up to me and say, Juju, like, what's your purpose? Like, why do you do the things that you do? And there's always a million reasons why you do what you do. But the main reason is I genuinely feel like I was put on this earth to be used. And when I say to be used, I know it sounds crazy, but I don't mean to be used out of being naive or being clueless as to what's going on around me. I want people to thrive when they're around me. If someone needs something, I want people to feel like you don't got to fake a friendship to get something out of me. You could just ask. And like, if I can be a resource, I will be one to you. And I feel like I find so much purpose in knowing that if someone puts themselves around me and they can grow and elevate in any way because of that, that fuels me and that excites me. And it may not always look like I did something for you directly, but because I have a bunch of people who come to me for the same things, I may know somebody else who can be that for you. So for me, I take pride in like being used. And I just feel like when I think about the work that I do, hold on, you made a comment before. I lost my track of my thought. What did you say before that?
Our community sort of being stingy.
So I make that comment because even though I am okay with that, I still want to see you grow, evolve, and elevate and do meaningful things with your resources. And when I see how people like SHIT on like people who write their resumes or people who are helping them with professional things, there's always so many concerns and complaints about spending money on professional things and feeling like, why is it not just given to me? But these are the things that help you make the income that you want to make to get the Chanel bag, the Amiri jeans. Like,
people
I think
still buying those?
I don't know. I'm making shit up. Like, I just feel like when I think about when people have money, what do they aspire to buy? And it's a bunch of wants and things that you're putting in the pockets of the same people you complain.
It's material things that don't even serve you.
They do nothing for you. But the things that are supposed to help you grow and elevate to be able to afford that luxury, you don't want to pay for it. So I just feel like we have to like really remix like how we attain the resources we do. And when we have those resources, the way we spend it, does it match the way we express our morals? Does it match the way we express the things that we care about? If we're very big on like social justice and looking for certain communities to thrive and get better, does your bank account show that that's where you want to put your money? Like, I think so much about just social media and how everybody's like an activist. And I have no opposition to that at all. But like, I want to see people like be activists with their funds. Like, I want people to take pride in, if I have a peer who's low right now, I can give that person some money and I know they're going to get back on their foot, like, and with no judgment. Like, I just want to see us be more communal with our funds versus like complaining about things that help us be better community members.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how big the gulf is between, let's say, like pair of Jordans or like material items. Mm-hmm. They're expensive.
Hell yeah.
And then going to an event, it's like it's not nearly
It's
as
like,
expensive,
it'd be
but
like
that's
$10 to $50.
that's the one that's like, oh man, like I don't really know. And if it's somebody that they know, it's kind of like, well, I deserve to get in there for free. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you realize this is exactly why we're where we're at. Like,
Yeah.
the money's going out, and
Yeah.
there's nothing coming in, and to keep it between us is sort of like an insult if
Yeah.
you ask for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, that's just something that's like, that's gotta change.
I can talk about that like all day.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but it's definitely like, the man is making us think that almost.
Yeah. And I share that not out of like negativity, because like I said, like on the glass half full side, like there are people who like pay for important things, right? If they didn't, we wouldn't still be running the company that we have today, right? Like people show us that our work is important because they're getting tickets to our events and they're sharing the stories that are coming out of our events. And to be very frank, I like a challenge. Like if somebody comes to my event and they feel like they wish they would have gotten something more, I kind of want to hear that too.
Of course.
Because I feel like when you're somebody who cares a lot about what you do through your business, being challenged shouldn't bother you. Being challenged should be a reminder that somebody cared. They only share that with you because there's an expectation that they kind of want to come back. But they want to come back and something that they express will also be there. And if you told me that, you can't be the only person out of 200, 300, 400 people that feel that way. Somebody else is going to feel that way. And I'll give you a big example of that. In 2023, I threw a Bronx networking event. And typically all our events are like in Manhattan to make it central to everybody. And there was somebody who came as a friend of a friend, and he had a great time. And he had a butt. And I was like, oh, there's a butt. Okay, what's the butt? And he was just like, to the point that I mentioned earlier, like, I just wish I knew who else was in the room. And till this day, I'm so grateful that he said that, because if he never said that, I wouldn't have the version of HuCapital that I had today, because I always felt that way, but I didn't hear anybody else ask for things. And when you're a business owner, you have to be mindful of how you spend and how you make decisions for what you're going to do. You don't want to just kind of do confirmation bias where any idea you have, you just start pursuing it just because. Right. You're wasting time sometimes. But I always felt like we needed to do a better job making sense out of who's in the room. Then he mentioned that. And what ended up happening was I kept thinking about what kind of tech can we create that would make people come to our event and know who's there. And what he ended up inspiring isn't necessarily what we have now as HuCapital overall. What he ended up inspiring was something called HuMatch. And HuMatch is another tool that we created in our business. And what it did was it matched you with people at the actual events. So when we ask in your RSVP, mad questions, your name, your job title, your company, your career level, we ask hella questions. But we ask it because the whole intent was to train this tool on all of that data. And when you get to the actual event, all you do is click the link, put the email you RSVP'd with, and now you have a list of 10 to 20 people in the room that it thinks you should find and get acquainted with. And that way, when you come into this big, grand event, you don't got to feel lost. It's like you can have some people that you should go find because we think that these people will be very useful and credible for you. So I feel like it's nice when you charge for things because you also get very intentional people who want their money's worth, right. And they're going to tell you what they want. And I like that because I want my events to be the best. And I want people to feel like, yo, like who else is doing events like this? And if someone's telling me how I can one up everybody else to make the best networking experience, I feel like that's what you get when you like charge people. Mm-hmm. So just sharing that perspective also.
So for somebody that doesn't or hasn't been to one of your events,
mm-hmm.
for somebody that is brand new to your events, mm-hmm. what should they know as to how it goes? What's the rundown? Put us in there visually.
So I talked a lot about the tech so far. Forgive me, y'all. I'm very clumsy. I shake a lot. Okay, so overall as a brand, we have 2 main goals when it comes to people in our community. We need y'all to vibe, and we need you guys to build. And when I say build can mean build, it can mean create. Build just means that you're producing something. You're not just constantly consuming things, whatever consumption looks like for you. So when we do events, we have a mixture. Some of them, which we're most known for, is our large mixers. And the intent of those large mixers is more so to fulfill the vibe part. And when I say fulfill the vibe part, you mentioned it earlier, and I love hearing somebody else say it versus me. But you're coming into a space where you know the kind of caliber of people in the room, but you don't have to to be a stickler about how you interact with them, because we're doing our events in like, it's like a networking event in a club, like 3 floors, rooftops, like these are chill.
The lights are flashing.
The lights are, it's a calm, like, it's a vibe that you go out with your friends too, maybe. If you're not, actually shaking ass a little different, but it ain't that. But like, it's a vibe. And we do that because I want people to realize you can have important conversations with people, but in a more lax way. We're all coming here for the same thing. You can find your friends, your colleague, whatever the case may be. But we do these big events with the intent to make it a very calm social experience where you can have non-intimidating conversations. And the intent is to hopefully lead to a friendship or someone that you can collab with or whatever the case may be. That's the primary goal for mixers. Now, the other pillar for us is people building. When you want people literally touching stuff and building, doing it with 500 people at once, that's not really productive. So we'll do like more intimate events where right now a big thing that people are talking about is vibe coding. How do you build websites, apps, SaaS tools without the need to actually code it yourself? You have tools like Lovable. You have tools like Replit. You have all these different pieces of technology that you can now use to start building things without having to wait to hire somebody else to do it for you. And if I recognize that in corporate America and agency world and et cetera, that people want to know that you can independently start producing work without the need of other talent, then I owe my community to make sure that they feel properly upskilled or properly introduced to things that they're going to need to thrive in their work, stay marketable, stay employable, or even inspire them to use those skills to create products, not just for a job, but for themselves and a business and make money. So we do these like series of like AI workshops, either virtually or in person. We have conversations about cybersecurity. We have conversations about all of the biggest things that are happening in tech right now, where whether you work in tech or not, if you're not paying attention to it, you may be feeling left behind and you may be feeling like people are having conversations around you and you can't even engage. And you're reducing the likelihood of you getting opportunities. So that's the way that we frame our actual events. Vibes, larger scale. Build, smaller scale. And then in the middle, we have like these, I guess you call them like mini conferences. Like we have this conference for women leaders. It's called Winning Women, and it's a mixture of both. You're networking, you're building on site, you're listening to women talk about what they're doing at their jobs and their businesses and how it can influence what it is that you're doing. But I think that for anybody who's throwing events, you need to have pillars behind why you do the events that you do. What are people supposed to be taking from whatever it is that you're producing? And how do you ensure that the exposure they have at your events, the impact of it has longevity? If I know that we did something intimate with groups or et cetera that has to do with AI, I'm allowing you to build on site, but you're building collaboratively with others with the hopes that y'all might want to continue doing this together. So I don't want you just on the laptop only working on things alone. I want you doing it with somebody else, that there's some level of accountability there. So the loneliness of working on something new doesn't appeal to you anymore. You have a community of people that you can do it with. So that's how we like frame our events.
Yeah, it's really useful. It's very actionable.
Yeah, because I feel like people have been selling us inspiration for mad long. Like, I love inspiration. I find inspiration in a lot of different people and how they do what they do. But I just feel like for what we do with HuCapital, I want people to say, like, I love being tied to this brand, whether it's their product, their platform that matches people, or their events. But, like, it's not just about being inspired. Whenever I touch base with anything to do with HuCapital, I leave knowing that I have, like, homework. Like, I got things to do after this and things to do that are going to help me. Like, that's what I need people to feel like when they leave. And if someone leaves anything that we do and they don't feel like there's some action items for them to pursue afterwards, we got more work to do. Because there's always something to do. Whether it's to sustain it or to pursue it, like, we need to help fulfill one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny enough, that's a really good point. I think I'm going to do that for some of my workshops. It's like, if you don't leave here with, like, I got to go home and make sure to at least write this down, then, there's not enough that, they've taken away. Sometimes for me, I'll leave, your events as well. Like, all right, now I gotta go hit them up, or like at least draft the email for tomorrow to send it so that they don't forget me, next week.
People forget. Yeah, you can't let them forget you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's very actionable. As far as AI and tech and stuff like that, like I know we see the vision with it, and it's like, to me, AI really at this point, like, it's just like a pencil or a pen. Like
It's also not new.
it's exactly. It's
The
like
type of AI that we talk about now is new-ish, but the existence of artificial intelligence has been for
the
decades.
chatbots and LLMs. You mean?
They've been like generative AI, agentic AI. Those are newer things that we're
Right.
talking about. But we're talking about like algorithms and the ability to use artificial intelligence to like just generically match people to things or present information in front of them. What do you think Google has been for all these years? Like none of this stuff is new. The reality is people build on top of the existence of whatever is in front of them, and this is just a new advanced version of something that has always been there.
What do you think that for the average person, or even people who you interact with day to day, like what is it about AI that sort of scares them off, or that they see in the future? Like, what is it? Is it rational fear?
Yep.
Are they just kind of
Okay. Oh my gosh. I think a couple of things.
skeptic or something?
Oh my God, all of it. Okay, let me go in order. Whew, bear with me, I get excited. Okay. I hate the internet. I love the internet and I hate it at the same time. When people say the internet is the devil, they're not lying, but damn, it's the devil I encounter every day. I love the internet. But I say that because I think the internet is filled with so much fear mongering. Whenever something new is unveiled, everybody on the internet will try to like tell you shouldn't engage with it. You shouldn't pursue it. You shouldn't do it. It's going to ruin your life, and respectfully so. And people are not wrong for their expressions either per se, but like there's this trend of scaring people out of utilizing AI because it's hurting the environment. It's taking away so much of our water and
Right.
all these different things. And I'm not going to say that there's no truth to any of that. But what I do believe is, like anything else that we see in terms of advancement in anything that we do and live, there are trade-offs. And there's also a need to maybe adopt something new, but challenge the powers that be to do it better and to put their money into solving the things that have been negatively impacted by the progression of said thing. So, for example, I think about all the different technological revolutions that we've had, right? You're talking about from horses to cars. You're talking about from factories and the advancement of machinery and taking away, sadly, some of the laborious roles that we served in those places and spaces. I even think about like Detroit. Like once upon a time, Detroit was like the most thriving city because that's where all the cars was, being manufactured. And then at some point, some day, there was less a need of that labor. And then now look at the city. I think that people are fear-mongering for a couple of reasons. One, they want to be the people that get the most attention for warning you from like engaging with something. I think that there are also powers that be that recognize that if very bright people and passionate people adopt something new, they're more likely to do something really good with it, something really powerful with it. And they may not want you to be able to have the power to do that, right?
Absolutely.
I just feel like you have this one side of people challenging and saying, adopt this thing, it will change your life. And we're literally seeing how it is changing certain people's lives, but it's always a few. And the few is for multiple reasons. Maybe it's money and resources, but the other part of it is just taking a chance on using something new when everybody else is sitting there twiddling their thumb thinking about why they shouldn't use it. So I just feel like so much fear mongering is hurting us. I think that there are so many things who want to attract attention and celebrity, and they realize that one of the best ways to attract people to you is to make them scared of something and have them flock to you because they'll find safety in your narrative because they're also skeptical about said thing. So those things come to my mind. On a more like, I guess, positive, like optimistic side, I think that for like people who are skeptical about AI, I feel like we should always do our best to research both sides of the coin. Like if you naturally hear all the negative things about something, look at like what good is happening. Are you seeing anyone's lives being changed through it? Are you seeing people take their family from struggle to blank with it? Are you seeing people maybe get their time back? There are so many people who feel like they're in a constant competition with themselves for time. And there are some people who are really good at using AI to get their time back, right? So I feel like for most people who are trying to be skeptics or just not trying, they're just by default skeptics, if you can find out how other people are using this thing to better their lives in ways that you want for yourself, maybe try that. Try it yourself. And if you really see for yourself this is not something that's going to empower me, my community, or anything that I'm doing, then at least you from trying can now say, yeah, no, I agree. I'm not feeling this. But I feel like there's a lack of attempt of using something before we can start like ruling it out. I just feel like if your biggest concern is the ocean and blah, 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 I hate to sound like this person, but like, do you never pollute? Like, do you really clock how long your showers are and how much water you're using? Like, in your day-to-day life, before you adopt a narrative of opposition of someone else, does your lifestyle also fit that concern in other ways? Because you may also be contributing to poor things happening in the environment. I feel like, why not just challenge people in that space? Like, for example, in AI, a job that's booming right now is AI ethics. Like, I'm really big on everybody has a skill, and you should focus on your skill and try to find people and uplift people who can also fight battles for you if you don't have the time to do that. Rather than me not using AI, I rather like look up who are the people that are in politics, social justice, etc., who are challenging Anthropic, OpenAI, NVIDIA, who are challenging them on a day-to-day, and how can I spread their message so that we can still have this thing, but it can be done in a more responsible way because we have leaders who can actually challenge effectively.
Yeah, have you heard of All Tech is Human?
I have. I don't know too much about what they do day to day, but I've heard of them.
You got to tap in with them for sure. Like, thinking about just hearing it now, like I know what you do and what Huey is about, but like hearing it now is like you got to tap in with them. Like they're all about, I mean, they have events, but they're all about ethical tech, ethical AI, holding people accountable. But they're also really smart people. Like they're not activists necessarily. They're all in tech.
Yeah.
So that's just something that you got to look into.
Or the people who work in a space that they care about. Like
Right.
I feel like even
They're
if someone's
trying
not
to
an
do it better.
activist doesn't mean that your voice doesn't matter. The reality is we should all be expressing our concern for something and figuring out what entity is the one that has the track record of doing the most to like solve something and sharing our concerns, our ideas, and our thoughts with them with hopes that they'll take action on our behalf. Like every single person can't lead the revolution or lead the revolt, but if we all find pockets of people and institutions that we think will have credible track records, we should rely on those and like allow them to do the work. The issue is we just stay mad at things because unfortunately, when we do put our hope into certain people and institutions, they kind of let us down. So it's easier to be mad than to be hopeful. Like, it's just easy to be mad. Like, it's just like, if I constantly am trying to be this optimistic person that's doing what Juju is recommending, which is finding the people to express your concerns to and they'll fight the battle for you. But every time you do that, they're not really doing anything with it. That also reduces hope and ignites more anger and people being mad and depressed. Like, I hate to even say this, but, like, a convo I had with my friends recently is like, yo, who's, like, our civil rights leaders? Like of today. Like, I feel like we spent like so much time in our youth.
Dr. Umar, like,
you know, I gotta fuck with him a little bit sometimes, but then other times I'm like, you bugging. But like, but like literally though, it's kind of like we've studied so much in our youth through social studies, people who have like taken this aggressive leap towards changing something in our lives for all different kinds of groups. And I just feel like we've reached this age. I don't know if social media did this, but I guess because everybody, I guess, has a voice and everybody can express things, maybe it reduced, I guess, a need for a civil rights person. But I don't feel that way. I feel
saturated
like exactly
There's
like
just too much talking.
We need like the voice of the voice of the voice. Like, I just feel like we need people who are trustworthy, credible, and etc. to be chosen leaders of movements the same way we had them back in the 1960s and the 50s and the 70s for all these different things. I feel like there's like something that's not there anymore, and that's why we're all just like in the back.
Well, what's not there is a movement. There is no movement because we're not unified on anything. And there isn't anything more that we could be unified on. I mean, truly.
Yeah.
There's the last thing that I think we can be unified on. I mean, there's a few things. Like, America's sort of crumbling. Do we come together and be like, hey, guys, no, look, like, we were born here. Like, we built this country. Come on, let's make America happen.
Yeah.
You know, like, literally the president who did, like, the Make America Great Again, it's like, yeah, you see, he wasn't actually about that.
Yeah.
Are the people about it? It's like, well, we're pretty fractured, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
And then there's the humanity thing, like the human race. It's like, guys, you see, if we come together and like the AI thing, it can't happen. But now people are being caught up into the AI thing and they're kind of lost in it.
Yeah.
So there's just really not that many causes.
Yeah.
Civil rights, we were organized on racial rights and like voting rights and like there were tangible things.
Yeah.
Now people think that life is good.
Yeah.
It's obviously not. Like there's just a lot that we want. So there's not movements for there to be leaders within. And the problem is that the leaders are just speakers.
Yeah.
They're
like
literally
yeah.
just chatting, like streamers or like, like who comes to mind? The guy Hassan Abi or however you say his name. Like, I don't listen to him or anything like that, but I'm like, this is probably who most people think of as like a vocal leader. Of like Democrats or, you know, like leftist people.
Is it the one that has his own independent media company and he's like showing up on like a lot of
I think he mostly does streaming.
He's British?
Nah,
he's somebody else then.
He's like Turkish or like, he's like a white guy. He wears glasses.
Okay, I gotta look him up.
If you've seen him, you'd know him. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he's the biggest.
Yeah.
We got Zoran, you know, it's like,
you
know what I mean? It's like there's not like really clear leaders because there's not too much to like mobilize around.
Oh my God, can I pick at that a little bit? And then another topic I want to address too is about pivoting in light of all this AI stuff. Oh my God, I've like been like in my room, my lab, constantly thinking about who gets to be the leader of a movement. And like I've even been like breaking down like HuCapital, its offerings, and like what movement does like my company support, right? Because I feel like I turned 30 in like a week. And I feel like this decade is like so important to me because I've learned so much and I've tried so much in my 20s. But now I want my 30s to literally be, Juju, you've learned what works. You've learned what doesn't work. You're so sure about what matters to you. How do I make my 30s this hyper-focused like decade of my life through business and what I support politically? So for context, HuCapital means human capital. And I just never say that. I like to keep a little mystery, like what the heck is a HuCapital? But it just means human capital. And no one ever talks about this as an industry, but human capital really just means investing in the growth of people. Because when you invest in the growth of people, we power everything going on in the world. We love to give tech so much credit, technical products so much credit. Who built it? We did. Like, no matter what you touch or feel in this world, a person actually produced that thing. And I want, like, my brand to represent this narrative of if you constantly take your resources, your time, your social skills, whatever you want to call them, and you invest it back in the growth of people, the world can only grow more positively. And I think for me, the biggest thing that comes with that is economic mobility. I'm going to keep talking about that because I feel like I've always been someone where money didn't really matter. But like every time I was around somebody that cared about other people and their well-being and their ability to thrive, they were always struggling people. And I'm just like, and that even like happened during my first job out of college. I was working for a healthcare nonprofit, and I'm watching these people who like, I don't want to say they'll die for the kids in the program, but like, I mean, like they were so sacrificial so that these kids can like experience enjoyment and knowledge in the program. But like people are complaining about their bills and like they got like humble lives. And I'm just like, why are they struggling? Like those kinds of people shouldn't be struggling, in my opinion. People who like genuinely care. So I give that context to say that like as a business owner, as a founder, as someone who has figured out that I care about human capital and economic mobility, do I need to also be somebody who needs to be like a political leader? Like, do I need to use my business and the message that it cares for and the results and outcome of my business to position myself to fulfill some kind of progression of a particular policy that aligns with economic growth and et cetera? Like, I don't really like being a founder is mad work. I would love to be that person, but I don't know if I can. So it just makes me wonder, while I want to be a certain kind of person to lead a movement and to say that this movement is all things, invest in human capital and economic mobility, I would love to say I could lead that movement, but like I'd rather support someone else to do it. And how do you choose who that person is going to be? Like, I don't know. Because if you have a track record of doing it, I wouldn't want to support you either.
You gotta like them. You gotta like them as an individual. That's really all it's about. It's not about experience so much anymore. I mean, the president is super under, like, he's just not a credible leader.
Like,
obviously.
at all. And look where he's at, right?
And even the mayor of New York, like, probably the second most important job. Like, great dude, not that much experience.
Right.
So it's like, it doesn't matter anymore. You kind of just got to know what you're talking about. And if you're Zoran, just smile a lot.
So maybe you're onto something. Like, maybe the reality is, and I'm not going to downplay any of our past, like, civil rights activists and et cetera, but it does make you wonder, whoever you choose to be the leader of a particular movement, one, they should have clarity on what it is that they're fighting for and what is the centuries of impact it will have from whatever their output is. But it makes me wonder, to your point, Does that person just have to be someone who understands the context and is a good communicator, and they just build a team that could do everything else? And that's typically people say usually happens in all of our movements anyway. It's never like the person who was the leader had all the ideas, right?
No.
Even in corporate, it's not like that either anyway. And it just makes you wonder, if you have a group of people who care about something, do we have to go out there and go choose that person and say, yo, you smile like Zorhan, you talk like him, you make good content. We're going to use our community and our resources, and we're going to empower you to do it. Like, is that what it takes?
That's exactly how he got elected. I mean, the
Like,
Democratic Socialists, they're really powerful. They just got a bunch of people elected last night. It's like they basically did what you said, which is like, we don't have a leader, but like, let's get this guy.
Yeah. No,
And
like literally.
Kind of like, not tell him what to say, but
Yeah.
in some ways, like that's just kind of how it works in politics. But I do think politics should go back to more like grassroots leadership and like you're saying, like somebody with a plan, somebody charismatic.
Where's the plan at? Like,
Somebody patient.
Yeah.
Like somebody with a lot of principles and values and a high moral compass, like
Our
those
president
sort
don't
of
have
people.
that.
Yeah, we don't have anybody
that right
that
now.
has that.
Like, I mean, Zorhan seems kind of cool. I don't know that.
No,
man, but,
he's dope. He's dope.
He's. But I feel like, to your point, like, we're one city within one state of one larger country, and like what we're looking for isn't even the leader of our country, right? So it's
No.
like, obviously we can have expectations and have wants, but if that's not even the representation at that level, what do you aspire to? Like, what do you look forward to? I see why people are angry, mad, and sad. Because it's just not a lot of hopeful things.
Yeah,
And who's it hopeful for? Because some people do find hope in that. But
I find a lot of hope in doing it the opposite way. I think for a long time it was like big government, big country, unified under one flag. And that's like the macro way to look at it. Whereas now I see it's like, that's not working. Let's go micro as possible, which is build a tiny, small community. Maybe like 50 people, maybe less than that. And commandeer that to the point where you guys are doing like real serious work, and it creates this effect. It's like a network effect. It's like they affect 50 people and then 50 people, and slowly, I think that's the way to kind of do it.
And how do you incentivize it? I'm not going to lie. I think that we definitely reached a point right now where, getting an award used to be like enough to like get people to feel like I did something, but people want like more incentive. So, something that I also think about, back to the point of economic mobility, I don't disagree with you. I think that if we are creating these micro networks of people who are taking on this responsibility to pick apart what's happening in society, locally or statewide, whatever it is, and make change, is there a way to incentivize, and maybe we already have it, I just don't know about it, but is there a proper way to incentivize them where maybe it's not through cash if you don't have the monetary resources to do it, but it's easier to get a house, easier to get things that make your life better? And I mean, maybe that's no different than just being a politician, to be frank. I don't know.
That's exactly
that right. I'm like, it probably is like, and to your point, it's like, that's why for me, I always say this. I believe in like productive complaining. I believe that even when things go well for you, there's always still something to complain about. But I think that we should never be complaining about things without the need to progress and like work towards the betterment of our own lives. And I mention that specifically because I care about a lot of things. I just don't have all the answers. People love to say we got Google, we got Claude, we got etc. You can research everything under the horizon, but you're only one physical being. Your ability to solve everything is impossible. It's the same reason why when you pitch your business to a venture capitalist or any kind of investor and they ask you, what is the specific market you're in? Because everybody who knows how this world works, you can't be one person solving for all of people's needs. And if I know that, I'm just always inquisitive of like, what does support look like if it's not about just being a politician? Because any solution I can think about incentivizing people to do good, I just feel like that's like being a politician. And people don't like politicians, but I don't know what else there is. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
To me, it's the spiritual blessing. It's like if you do good, you
it should be enough. I mean, that's how I've always
build the
operated
kingdom.
in my.
You get to stay in it.
I would think that's enough, but life has literally taught me it's just like not enough for everybody. Like knowing you're doing good is not enough to most people.
Because we grew up in an era where you gotta get something in return, and it has to be like a big dopamine hit when you get it. It's got to be a big thing.
Yeah.
Like you got to get a Nintendo DS if you get an A in school.
Yeah.
It's like, that wasn't always the way, before that.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That is true. Yeah. Yeah.
If you go on DoorDash, you're going to get a meal like at your door and you're going to, like this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's instant gratification and it's a big gratifying thing to get all these material things, but it's not well paying to do God's work.
Yeah, no.
It's not. But in the other way, in the spiritual way, people hear that and they think it's like, oh yeah, but how am I gonna do all these things? It's like you'll find a way if you really stick with it. Like that's how it works.
Yeah. Or you
Trust
choose
me.
or you choose like 1 to 2 or maybe 3 things that you want to dedicate your energy to and hyper focus on that. Like I do feel like we should like know a little bit about a lot of things, but we should know a lot about a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel very strongly about that. And I say that as somebody who has always been an overthinker, an overcarer, and you feel this need to save people in all ways and forms. And then I find myself with heightened migraines. I find myself unable to fall asleep because I can't turn my brain off. I find myself in these spaces where, like, I'm kind of, like, tired because I can't stop caring. And it's just, like, you can still care, but maybe you got to, like, be super intentional about, like, what do you care enough about to take action on? And, like, maybe that's where you double down on your energy and your input.
What are some of those things for you that you said know a lot about a few things or, like, impact a few things?
Yeah, like, I feel, okay, so let's say, for example, let's talk about Juju. So, to your point, I'm going to restate the theme. I believe it's important to know about a lot of things, but care diligently about a few things and take action on those. And to give context using myself, I'm not going to lie. I read one article about construction. I'm like, how does construction work? I read articles. My background actually for context before HuCapital is product management and healthcare. So I've always worked in health tech and healthcare and stuff like that. I care about health related stuff. Growing up until like 17 years old, I was like always singing in like talent shows and like choirs. People don't know that I actually I don't want to say I could sing that great anymore, but, like, I grew up singing.
You got a good speaking voice.
And people say that's where it comes from. Maybe that. Like, I've been singing since, like, for mad long, right? So I care about music. I may not care as much about shows, but I love a movie. Like, I love documentaries. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm, like, the biggest, like, environmentalist. But, like, when I come across a good piece online or a good podcast about what are, like, micro things that I can do in my everyday life to make sure I'm not hurting the environment ecosystem that I live in, I take interest in that. Like, I am the person where if something ends up in front of me and in a span of, like, one sentence, like, you got me, I'm going to lean in. And after I lean in, it doesn't look like only reading that article or finishing that one episode. For the week, I gotta go, like, ask more questions in Google. I'm on a YouTube hunt. I'm on, like, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. I'm just going down a rabbit hole of exploring things. And I'm not mad about that level of curiosity because that curiosity helped me figure out exactly what I care about, which is part B of your question, which is what are those 1 to 2, 3 things I care so much about? One is human capital or social capital, right? Meaning that I really care about the togetherness of people. I really feel like even though as a company I focus on professionals, that's just a demographic I choose because it's a business. I care about people loving their friends, loving their families, loving their overall community. I always say I feel so blessed because other than maybe like one person, and I won't share the story, but one person who I feel should have cared for me more growing up that didn't, other than that one person, I feel like my extended non-family community always made me feel like I could do anything. When people be rapping in their songs like, yo, I had this teacher and they said I was never going to be shit. And I'm like, oh, I didn't really have that. Like, I've only had people who could tell me like, it sounds a little hard to do it, but like, if anybody can, maybe it's you. Like, I'm a product of yay sayers, not naysayers. So I genuinely believe that if I care about something, then I could be the person to get it done. Anyway, sidetracked. Going back to the thing. The 3 things I care about is togetherness, community, knowing that people are the most empowering thing that you can have. No one can empower you more than another living, breathing person. And if I can build things to make people stay more together and united, I want to do that. Whatever it takes, I want that. Second thing, I forgot who was it, this guy. He was like, the 2 most important things you have in your life is your health and time. Time you can't get back. Your health is the thing that keeps you running every day. If you threaten that, you're putting your life at jeopardy. Anything you do is at jeopardy. So recognizing that time and health is so important, I just realized that I have this strong affinity to healthcare. Can I solve all things in healthcare? No. But specifically in healthcare, what I care about is the patient to provider relationship and how empowering that relationship can be to a patient if they feel safe and they feel heard and they feel like they have access to tools to help them better understand what the heck is going on with their body. A lot of like consumer health tools have been really helpful for people because most times the only visibility you have into your health is when you go to a doctor and they tell you a few words and then you see them next year. Or God forbid you actually have a chronic issue, you got to see them a little bit more often. But people want like day-to-day access of like what the heck is going on with my body. Hence why you got the Apple Watch and the Whoop and all that stuff, right? So I care about that. Patient-provider relationships in health. How does the overall healthcare system work? What are consumer health devices that can make us have more control over our health? That's the second thing that I care so much about. And I'm going to pause on that. I have like a third, but I kind of feel like I have a third and a fourth, and I can't pick right now. And most of those are like growing care. I guess what I wanted to maybe say was tech, but I care about the social. I care about the health. I can't say that I care about tech.
Because it's the tool that
it's a tool. Like literally,
that's
that's my relationship with technology. Yeah. Like looking at everybody here, like I don't believe that technology is powerful. I think it's just a useful thing that we have access to. And when you care about solving a problem in a particular industry, tech is this efficient, speedy, quick way of being able to sustainably make a change in something you care about. So it's even so weird. Like I run a tech company. Before I was running this tech company, I was working in product management and tech, but I was working in health tech, because I believe in the power of tech as a tool to better and optimize the healthcare system. I don't know if I care so much about tech more than I just care to use it and abuse it for the betterment of those two things that I care about. That's what tech means to me.
So when you were talking about the rabbit holes, and I'm sure day to day you use all different types of tools, but you said three sort of, not redundant necessarily, but kind of redundant, like Gemini, GPT, and Claude.
Different reasons.
What are those reasons?
Yeah. So if I talk about like my day-to-day like tech stack, yes, it's ChatGPT, it's Gemini, it is Claude. I'll even add a fourth one. It's Perplexity. And if I had to break down how I'm using each of them, ChatGPT is cool for ideas. It's good for me trying to. I don't think I'm the most creative person in the world. I just think I know what needs to be solved for. I feel like ChatGPT helps ignite more creativity in me. So I'll bounce ideas creatively off of it. I think Claude is like, when people have like kids and you got like those two siblings and one is like the cool one is like the nerd. I feel like Claude is like that smart ass like sibling where it's like, all right, all that cool stuff is whatever, but like I'm a genius. Like Claude for me is like my co-strategist. When I'm trying to really get heads down on how do I pitch better? How do I clean up my business model? How do I like handle the very serious parts of my life and my business? Like I go to Claude for that kind of work because it's like my co-thinker. I've used ChatGPT for that, but I think that Claude does it more brilliantly. And Claude also is better with visual returns of information, meaning that you can literally ask Claude to give you all this context in the form of a deck, in the form of a document. Like it will pictorially and visually give you the information that you're looking for, and you can just download it as a document, a deck, or whatever the case may be. You start asking for stuff like that in ChatGPT, it's just not as smart.
Yeah,
it's not the nerd.
I see GPT is kind of like a notebook, and Claude is sort of like this database, like this main place that you can do all these different things.
Yeah, Claude, you can do a lot. Like Claude is trying to be like, and also, quick sidebar, but like as a business owner, you kind of got to be mindful of like how you use Claude's API, because it almost makes you feel like if all these businesses who are trying to be AI forward are using like your API just basically means something that allows one product to talk to another and exchange information. It makes you wonder as a business owner, if I'm using Claude's API to build out my products, are y'all just like studying what people are building and like just trying to remake it yourself? Because every day it's like, it's Claude design, Claude code, regular Claude is the GPT. Then it's, I think there's something called Claude content. I don't know if that was real or not, but like every other day, Claude is pushing out. If it's not real, it's coming out tomorrow anyway. Yeah. Like they always have something in. if you are a faithful user of a thing, it is nice and easy when they build a bunch of stuff that you want. But then you got to also wonder, like, damn, like, are y'all just like robbing other people of opportunities to have businesses in these spaces too? Sidebar.
Of course they are.
They really are. But, you know, you pay that $20 a month and, you know, you got all these things. You're kind of happy about it. Hence why I say we're all kind of guilty of, like, saying that we care so much about something to be better, but we still be spending our money on things that are questionable. So we're all guilty of it. How do we respectfully challenge it? Whole different sidebar. Gemini, researcher. Straight up, like, and Perplexity, same thing. Straight up, I'm asking it to give me, like, let's say if I'm doing market research for, like, my business. Like, yo, tell me more about this market of social, professional, creative, white collar, economic mobility, whatever it is, and I want links. I need you to give me the links to the resources that you're pulling this information from. I feel like those two platforms make research a lot easier. So between all of these different tools that are these chatbot interface-like platforms, that's how I'm using them on a day-to-day to figure out how I'm progressing my business. If I'm thinking personal stuff, yeah, ChatGPT. If I'm like lazy, just like regular whatever day-to-day stuff, ChatGPT. If I use Claude, it's because like I'm making a checklist for my trip to Colombia. And that's pretty much it.
Do they all have different personalities because you use them differently?
Yeah, like when I speak to Perplexity and Gemini, because they're not getting so much context from me on a personal level, just business, it's very serious toned. ChatGPT, very much so, as a product, it just has the most, like, regular, basic, chill vibe anyway.
Like, hey, girl.
Like, hey, right. So it's like, and because you talk to it like, both personal and professional, like, you'll get that very chill emoji, hey, oh, my bad. Like, you'll get that tone from it. And Claude is kind of like that colleague of yours who's kind of becoming a friend. It's like dancing between, like, let me keep it serious, but let me, like, kiki with you a little bit. That's, like, my relationship with Claude. It's like, it wants to, like, talk to me a little, like, we cool, but it's, like, not really sure yet. So.
It was warming up to that.
Yeah. I mean, we have this habit, a human, like, interaction. I feel like as humans, we have a tendency to, like, I guess, humanify or personify, whatever you want to call it, like, tools and things around us. And I feel like these chatbots are a reflection of that. Like, you talk to it so much, it's kind of like people give ChatGPT a name. I heard ChatGPT show. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, everybody got people. Claudie, like, everybody, all these tools get a nickname. I haven't given them one yet. But, like, when you interact with tech so often, it almost just becomes like, oh, yeah, I'm going to give it a name because it's like my person, my rock, my friend or whatever. But that's how I use those tools.
Do you find yourself being really conversational, as in, like, you almost forget that you're...
Not there yet.
No?
Nah, I know what I'm using. Yeah, nah.
Okay.
Like, I feel like...
I'm looking out for you.
Yeah, I don't feel that yet. And I hear so many stories about people who sadly reach that point, and not in a good one for their health, where they're venting to it in a certain way where it becomes their therapist and stuff. And that's very scary because it's not meant to be that. So I do feel for people who end up in those situations. Hence why I think community is so important, because if we have more people that we trust with our personal business, you probably wouldn't be, like, talking to it about, you know, how we feel for real. Like, it's one thing to, like, vent, and it's another thing to, like, seek information. I don't have any opposition to people using AI to find mental health resources, hopefully find what practices they should be reaching out to or whatever the case may be. But I do feel sad when people feel like they don't have anybody trusting enough around them to vent to, and now this thing that just basically operates off of, like, data on the internet becomes, like, your safe haven. It's, like, weird. And I feel bad. Yeah. Because I get it.
It's still just an app with words right now. Imagine when it sort of takes on this personified, you know, face and this human sort of, like, I don't know, like when they embody it in some sort of mannequin or something like that, like a walking robot.
Like the robots next. Like, they've been trying to build these robots for mad long, and somehow this version of AI, I guess, beat that version. I mean, Tesla had a robot for like 2 seconds on the internet that I never saw it again. Like, I'm like, what happened to that robot? I don't want it. That one, I'm not gonna lie, and maybe I will when it's really, like, mainstream. That one I feel funny about. I don't want no thing in my house that's not a human being so much bigger than me and it's just, like, living there. Like, I just feel like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Like,
I would, like, you know, soon enough, this may even be, like, the next couple of years. Like, I get this would be, like GI, like general intelligence, would be like, at all times, I'd like something that can sort of complete different tasks or help me with something that's, like, very easily accessible.
Yeah.
that has like a very loose interface, not something that I have to like log into. But I don't know if I want it to be like
walking in my house. Like, I don't know
What
about
the
that.
hell?
Like, why is this thing in my home? Then you have all these movies about the robots that actually look like a human. But I'm just like, damn, I don't know about that. That's a bit much for me.
I mean, we're going there. That's like,
No,
we're so
100%.
early in this. And we're so young that it's like, what we're going to see when we're older is like unimaginable. Like, we literally couldn't even imagine what that will look like.
Like, millennials in particular, like, we really grew up with, like, mad phases of, like, how tech has evolved, right? From those big-ass, you know, phones to flip phone, or, like, the regular Nokia to flip phones to sidekicks, and this concept of the internet and the computer being in your phone to social media to AI to... We're living through so much of it that, to your point, mainstream robot, like, adoption might just be, like... around the corner. I don't know how I feel about that one though. Like I said, I don't want nothing that big in my. I'm 5'2". Like you, and even if it's my height, I just feel like you might want to square up with me. I don't like that. I don't want that in my house. I just don't. But I'll stop there. I don't know what your thoughts are for the wrap up for the conversation, but I do want to like give a perspective about like pivoting. I feel like we talk so much about AI in terms of the tools that we use, the adoption, and etc. But like I want to talk more about like even asking you a question. What does it mean to pivot, like in your career, in your life, because of how much things are changing? Like, how do you pivot? How important is pivoting to you?
That's a great question because I think people see career as like a linear thing to where it's like you're starting here and then you're growing up and up and up and then eventually like you make it somewhere.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. At least for me, I'm very purpose-driven.
Yeah.
What do I want to do? Where am I trying to go?
Yeah.
What am I trying to accomplish, and how can I get there?
Yeah.
I don't think of just like, I'm going to get a job that's the best paying job
Yeah.
and make the most money, and then I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to use that to supplement my lifestyle. That's what most people do, for sure. It's just like, what's the highest number? I look to do things, and whatever fits into that is how I'll pivot. So for journalism originally, I wanted to be a journalist and like, sit at the desk and like go do stories and stuff like that. And once I got there, it's like that's what I was dreaming about. But like I'm here and I'm doing it, and it's great. But then also like the media business changed a lot. I mean, it was COVID right after that, so things changed a lot. And once things went remote, I don't know, I just felt sort of like distant from it. And I was working in business news for a long time. I'm like, this is just not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Not that I ever pivoted specifically from journalism, but from big media I did. And I was like, I want to cover the things that I care about. And I want to do it independently. And so when I started doing that, I was like, okay, this is a pivot that is way less stable, and it's way more like there's nobody around me. There's nobody with me. It's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm still working towards what I want.
Yeah.
And then further than that, I figured out, okay, now I can get creative with that and, you know, do events and build communities and, you know, ultimately monetize things that I wanted to build. And once I did, now I can find different ways to make money off of it.
Yep.
Why make money? Because you got to pay your bills and stuff like that. But further than that, you can start to build even more stuff that will fulfill both your passions and your sort of economic necessities.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now, is like I see jobs and money and stuff like that as like those are just tools.
Yeah.
Those aren't not at all the
Money
ends.
is literally a tool.
It's just a tool.
Like, you
and
should not love money. Like, you shouldn't
It's crazy.
idolize money. Like, money is an exchange. It was made to exchange.
and buy your time back. So when you said earlier that AI helps buy time back, that's what I've been doing for a couple of years. It's like
100%.
I've gotten like 5+ years of work done in 2 years or less.
Hello.
It's not just because of the AI. It's my savvy and the sort of, you know, the connections I have and stuff like that. But
sure.
It's mostly being able to leverage my time back. And what do I do with that time? Maybe buy some more, make some money to, you know, make my life easier and stuff like that.
Yep.
And also, like you said, I never really valued money like that.
It's not to be valued.
I value hard work. I value building things. And that's also how you make money. I value taking risks. That's really how you make money.
Yeah.
So as far as pivoting, I see it to where it's like, if my goal is calling me in this whole other direction, but I still have my eyes on the prize, I'll do it.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, hey, I have this opportunity up in Alaska. There's this guy that has been doing outdoor stuff for the longest time, and he organized people, and he's actually a journalist, and he's starting this thing, and he's looking for somebody, and I recommended you, but hey, you have to turn your whole life around for a year.
Yeah.
I am probably going to consider that. Is it different from everything that I've been doing? Yes.
Yeah.
But if the opportunity serves my goal,
Yeah.
and if I know what my goal is and I do,
Yeah.
then I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, I'm going to make more money here and, this job's paying like $90K. It's like, I got to take it. It's like, bro, what? Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, you got to keep your eyes on the prize. Like, if you have what is it? If you have the what, no. If you have the why, you'll figure out the how.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay.
If you know why you do something, you'll figure out how to do it.
100%.
If you know what you're doing it for, you'll figure out how to do it.
100%.
So for me, it's like your career and your life. I like to align my career and my work with my passion and my soul and all that stuff.
I kind of need to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, every day is a drag.
Yeah, because like work, then it'll feel like strict labor alone. Like,
and that's not enough.
9 to 5, that's a lot. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, spending that much time on something you have no interest, concern, or passion for,
it's kind of crazy.
It drains you. It's another reason why people have so much money and be unhappy, because if you are chasing something that has no meaning other than exchange, aka money, you can't be happy because there's nothing fulfilling about money. If you have a reason for why you want that money, you find fulfillment in being able to constantly use money to achieve that thing. I think that people who use money to fulfill something that they care deeply about, there's that equilibrium there that allows them to thrive more versus someone who's just like, I heard it's good to have money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get it. And now
and you don't even know why.
You have to have a why. And, I had a choir teacher, and he was telling us, he was like, God has given everybody a genius, but everybody won't live their lives discovering what that genius is. And your ability to discover it also looks like trying things. Like, to your point about people settling on opportunity, sometimes, okay, for your livelihood, you might have to take something, but are you still allocating time to try out other things that can become the thing that you're passionate about? And now the next step is figuring out, now that I know what I'm passionate about, how do I make that my life? But if you just take something for the sake of taking something and never make time to explore, you'll never discover a life worth living, just a life worth surviving. And I don't want that on anybody.
That was tough.
Yeah,
that was good. I think that's a good way to wrap that one up.
That was
a mic drop real quick.
I didn't play that one, but it kind of flowed nice too. I was like, a bar? Hold on, Jude. Like, you poetic with it? Like, but yeah.
Okay, so Ju, let's give some people some resources, some things that where they can find you, social media, but also your platform. Just give a quick wrap up on it, so people can get your stuff.
LinkedIn, my name, Jerlisa Fontaine. Anything like TikTok or Instagram, Juju Fontaine _. If you want to learn more about HuCapital and what we can do to help you better connect with other creatives, professionals, and founders, HuCapital.co. That's HuCapital.co.com. And if you're very serious about genuinely being in community with others, I highly recommend you come to us. I will say one last thing. When I mentioned earlier about building this tool called HuMatched, for the sake of matching people in real life at our events, just for our events, we are actually commercializing that tool. And for a lot of people who are building community, who do events, if there is a need for them to also connect people in real life and help them identify who else is in the room or in that setting, we will now be building out that software, which I say building out, it's kind of already done, but we'll be licensing out that software later this year. Stay tuned.
That's good to know. Interesting. All right. Thanks, Juju.
Thank you.
Bye,
guys. This life is already hard. I just feel like take a couple of risks, fall flat on your face real quick and then get it back. Which sounds really simple. You have to have the gut for it. But I take it like mad L's. First of all, I be having credit card debt. Then sometimes I'm up. Then I'm not. This shit is a damn roller coaster. I forgot who I was talking to. They was like, oh my God, you look so happy. Your life must be so perfect. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's not. And I'll talk about my upbringing, but it's never been perfect. But if I make it look good, shit, fuck it, why not?
You can't do that. Life is life is suffering. You're supposed to make it look good.
Look good. It just is what it is.
It sounds grim, life is suffering, but it's
it kind of is.
That if you're living properly, you're struggling a little bit.
And to your point, it's not struggle all the time, every day. It's just waves of it. Sometimes you got to go through a little bit of something to get to that next thing. Then if there's more growth there, go through something, get to that next thing. If the goal is progression in life, you're just going to have little moments of shit just kind of blowing yours.
Sometimes it rains.
And it pours. And that shit pours.